some NBA news. So the Brooklyn Nets started the year 1-5, and they then announced that Steve Nash, the head coach, and the Brooklyn Nets had mutually parted ways from each other. So, Cody, first of all, was this the right move?
Yeah, I mean, this should have happened before the season started, in my opinion. And I don't blame Steve Nash for the condition of this team and how it's unfolded. In my opinion, it is completely on, Sean Marks. It is completely on the players that made it this volatile, in my opinion. And Steve Nash, he did all that he could. I don't think it helped that this was literally his very first coaching job in general, college or professional. And, you can be the smartest NBA player, but if you don't have any sort of experience on coaching, you can get lost very quickly. And not that I don't think he's prepared, but I mean, for a first time head coach, you're going to get the most polarizing personalities on your team and figure out how to get them to work together. And there was an interview or two where they easily said that they didn't even need a head coach. So, I easily see that this was a train wreck from the get-go. They should have been gone. I think Steve Nash should have stepped down before the start of this season. And the fact that we're to this point now, it blows my mind. I didn't think it can get any worse. I was actually starting to get encouraged. Okay, you get Ben Simmons back. Kyrie Irving and KD are both now recommitted to Brooklyn, so on and so forth. I was thinking, okay, yeah, this can work. And no, in fact, it's even worse. How is that possible? I don't know, because we had an entire offseason, and yet they come back worse. And now, I hate to say it, but there's a strong possibility Kyrie Irving can be a Laker after Thanksgiving, like a legit possibility, because of the drama that's going on with him tweeting about something anti-Semitic, or a film that advertises anti-Semitic, and the behaviors of everything that's going on. It just, this core does not work, and it's just toxic. That's all it is. And I think the former head coach to the Celtics, Udoka, is going to be taking over now, which I think is great. But I think Brooklyn needs to hit the full reset button right now. I think they need to start trading players and get this thing under control, because right now it's really bad in Brooklyn, and they are making the Lakers look like a well-run organization, and they are not. And that's another scary thing on how bad this Brooklyn Nets team is.
So I would first put this whole ordeal, Steve Nash, the percentage wise of who's to blame, I would put this maybe at like a maximum of like 20-25% on Steve Nash. I really don't think he really had much say. I think he was probably the fourth or fifth or even sixth guy that they would go to for any information on whatever, or guys that they would listen to. I mean, there you have the owner, the GM, you have KD. Actually, I would say owner, KD, Kyrie, then the owner, or then the GM, then Steve Nash. And possibly Ben Simmons might be over him too. So it was crazy, and I think this is an organizational fail. I don't think this was a Steve Nash fail, because I was looking at his numbers, and I'm going to pull them up here on my tablet just to make sure that I say this right. But Steve Nash, his head coaching career with the Brooklyn Nets, in 161 games that he had coached, 72 in 2021, 82 in 2022, and then obviously the 7 games that he coached with the Nets here this year, he was 94 and 67 overall. That is a 58 win percentage. That's actually better than what I thought. Now, obviously, it was towards the end of last year where it started kind of looking a little sus. And then obviously the offseason, which I don't think you can put on Steve Nash at all. They were wanting Steve Nash there. It was KD and Kyrie who were saying, we want Steve Nash as our head coach. And then they got him, and they were like, oh, I don't know, maybe. I don't know. He's not getting paid enough, so we're just going to do our own thing. And it was like, this doesn't make any sense. He was 7-9 in the playoffs. So it's not like he was complete trash in the playoffs. He was actually still winning games. Of course, and they still almost made it to a conference championship with him as head coach. So
yeah,
I don't put a lot of it on Steve Nash, to be frank, man. I think Steve Nash just got a really raw deal on this. Now, do I think he was fantastic? I'm not going to go that far and say I think he was going to be a great head coach. I think he can be, but I do think he needs to probably either. I think at this point maybe a G League team, maybe a low end NBA team, like if Mike Brown doesn't work for Sacramento, maybe that would be a good destination just to see what he can do, see how that team looks. Even though right now Mike Brown looks like he's doing okay with Sacramento, so maybe like Indiana or something. I don't know, but I just feel like he needs to go, or college even. I think that would be a good fit for him to try and work some kinks out and then try and come to the NBA, because I think him getting thrown into this was just ridiculous. He shouldn't have gotten the job in the first place, to be perfectly honest. He didn't have a resume for it other than he played in the league. And I'm not saying that isn't worth something, but we should have seen. I mean, a lot of people were even saying it, and I think a lot of us did see that, this wasn't going to work. When the players are running the team, it's not going to work. You don't look at Miami Heat and go, oh, Jimmy Butler is definitely the guy who runs that team. No, know it's Eric Spoelstra. And above him is Pat Riley. I mean, you know those guys are running the ship. You're not going to question that. In Milwaukee, yes, Giannis is this big figure, but Giannis is listening to his head coach all the time. You don't look at him and go, oh, he's definitely making all these moves. I think LeBron is kind of doing this in the Lakers, where he's kind of running the team, and you're seeing it's not going great right now. And so this is the good organizations are running their organizations and having the players play. Now, I'm not saying that the players shouldn't have a say in certain things, but I also am not saying that they should have a say in everything, because obviously what they're thinking or what they see is going to be different, and is going to be more of a personal connection, versus where GM is going to be kind of like, okay, we need to do this because this is what we need. I know, KD wants this player, but this doesn't fit. You know what I mean? So it needs to be a whole organizational change, and that's not going to happen. So even if Ime Udoka becomes the head coach for the Nets, I don't think it's going to change much, because either KD and Kyrie need to go, or at least one of them need to go, and go from there.
Yeah, no, I don't have any much more to add, but that's again why the question is how much change could happen with the new head coach. That's why, in my opinion, like if we're this far up the river and we're basically just without the head coach that the players asked for, then demanded to leave, then kissed and made up, and then now he's gone. I don't know what a new head coach in the start of the season's going to do, because this just seems like a very toxic start to the season. It may be smart for them just to, let's just start trading some things away while the price is still good, because if this continues to unfold the way it is, not a whole lot of teams are going to give up a ton of assets for some toxic players. Maybe right now is the best time for the Nets to sell high on a lot of these guys to get some assets back, some players, to even think about rebuilding, because right now, in what universe are they going to be ready or prepared to get it in the playoffs, let alone the play-in? Because right now they're their own worst enemy, and especially Ben Simmons isn't even shooting the ball right now. KD's not going to tolerate this whole drama that Kyrie keeps doing. Kyrie only had 4 points in his last game, and he's causing a bigger distraction than he is helping the team. So there's just so much layering to this that it's like the only option is to just let's let all parties go and get what we can while it's still high. Because right now, relatively, they're all playing pretty good. But right now, like, you let this keep unfolding and no team's going to want to touch any of them, or they're not going to give you what you originally asked for. So